My name is Lindsay Ryan from Ideal Systems. We're here today at Broadcast Indonesia, where we will be introducing you to our solution, Paywizard Agile Plus. I'm the Group Sales Director for Subscriber Management Systems, and we're here today with Chris Lloyd, who's representing Paywizard, and he will give you an in-depth overview of the product. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Lindsay. Paywizard is here to support Ideal Systems for their subscriber management system portfolio. What I'll be doing today is showing you a lot more about Paywizard. Paywizard Agile product, its infrastructure and its capabilities. What we'll do is we'll be using the screen in the corner and getting a close-up of the functionality that we use in order to support broadcasters, to allow their customers to increase, their revenue to increase, and also reducing the amount of churn that sometimes happens, especially with things like OTT systems. So, although Paywizard supports digital satellite and digital terrestrial, it will also support OTT in-country. Some of the challenges that we find for demonstrations, especially at trade shows, is the internet connectivity. Well, I'll be demonstrating Paywizard today on a 3G signal only, so we can show that the product still performs perfectly well under those circumstances, especially around a trade show with all its contention. And I'll show you more about that now. So my name's Chris Lloyd, I'm from Paywizard. I'm here at Broadcast Indonesia in support of Ideal Systems, and we provide subscriber management services for the broadcast industry. That's subscriber management systems for OTT, digital satellite and digital terrestrial services. I'm going to be showing you Paywizard Agile and how that will support broadcasters here in Asia Pacific to provide a customer service for their broadcast clients. So the first thing I'll do is give you an overview of what we've got as a product. And what we're looking at on screen now is an instance of Paywizard Agile. We deploy Paywizard Agile into the cloud, that's Amazon Web Services, and when you log in to this instance, you'll be able to set up your subscriptions, set up your one-off purchases, add orders, add discounts, and be able to view information about your customers and any subscription services that you've got. So if I give you a quick overview, on the left-hand side are the services, so we can set up our subscriptions, and these are all the live subscriptions in our environment. And we use an environment called Teal Vision, which is just a made-up TV broadcast provider. And as we look down the left-hand side, we can see we have a marketing environment where we can look at our decision moments. And decision moments are one of the main reasons that we won an award at NAB. And the idea here is that we have a number of different engagement points, which are positive and negative points at which a customer interacts with their subscriber service. And those points are around the finding of the service, that is customers finding the service that they want to subscribe to, joining the service, that's signing up and adding their subscription information and adding their payment details. The consuming of the service, that's them actually running with their subscription over time, upgrading and then downgrading their service, billing them in a robust manner so that they always get a bill on time and we don't cause a problem with their bill. Leaving the service, and that needs to be a seamless exercise for the customer. We need to allow them to leave and then win them back again later. So these 8 engagement points with the customer are our decision moments. And we'll see a bit more of those when we drill down onto that. We can also look at our finance and billing, so we can see who's been billed and when over time. So for example, what the expected billing is, what the actual billing is, and the difference between that. We can also look at our insights. This is around all the reporting you can get on the service. If I open up the reporting service here, we get an immediate view of a health check of the system. The health check shows you information such as revenue month on month. The broadcaster will give us the revenue they're expecting over time, and we'll tell them exactly what's coming through, and you'll be able to see a health check of that. Same for the number of subscribers that are coming through, what we're targeting month on month, the churn, very important, how many people are leaving. You tell us what the target is and we'll tell you what's happening. average revenue per user, and the same for customer lifecycle. We give these as a standard to the client, and if they want more reports, we'll put them in here. Let's move on to real-time reports. If I click on the real-time reports tab, this gives us a view of what's happening right now within the database. You can see that it's hour-on-hour recording. We will be refreshing this every 2 minutes, and you can see things like new registrations by method coming through, sales by product every 2 minutes, the number of sales that you are receiving, the number of subscription additions, the number of subscriptions reinstatements. These are the people that have left and have now rejoined. And here we have the subscription pending cancellations. And these people you can address, market to, and send information in order to bring them back on board again. We also see the top 5 sales by volume and by product. We can then look at sales reports in some detail by platform, service, product, or date. You'll see this is a straightforward report looking at or drilling down on data that's already been recorded. So we're looking at the current week. We can filter that down into previous current month or previous month. Looking at the data, we can then extract it into whichever format you like. We can then look at other reports such as revenue reports. So this is the revenue that's coming in. We can look at the additions, reinstatements, cancellations and terminations and other data that comes as standard as part of the Paywizard product. And any reports that broadcaster has that we don't provide, we will add to the custom reports tab and they can download it from there. We can also look at subscriber movements. This report gives a view of the number of subscribers that have either left us or have come back or have been added to the service by day. And we can see that over time, and we can drill down into things like additions, reinstatements, and even look at the closing balance of the number of customers that are in the system. And we can see the sort of products that are on as well. So this is a high-level overview of the sort of subscriber movements that go on over time. And we can change the report date as required and export the data where needed. So what I'm going to do now is go through a typical user journey for an OTT service. And the way we'll do that is look at a customer. And we'll look at a customer called Liamadi. The idea here is that Liamadi is in hospitality. She loves her movies. Her favorite actor is Simon Pegg, but she doesn't have any TV subscriptions. And she's actually looking for a TV subscription right now. She goes online and she looks at the available OTT services out there, which are similar to Netflix. And this particular one is a Jakarta TV Ultra service that provides movies and other on-demand services. And you can see that it's actually 280,000 rupiah a month, and it's the first month free. So there's an offer to actually watch for 1 month this service. She drills down onto that and has a look at what movies are available to her, and she sees one of the movies is from her favorite actor and decides that she might sign up for this. So before she signs up, let's look at Paywizard and how Paywizard sets up that service ready for it to be sold. We go into services, subscriptions, and look at more detail around the subscriptions that sit within the system as it stands at the moment. And as we can see, there are a number of subscriptions that are rupiah based and frequency monthly. And if we look at the Jakarta TV Ultra with offer, this is the one we're going to concentrate on. You see the price and the frequency, and we can look at that in more detail. We see there's a subscription name and a description and an initial term. The initial term is all about the tie-in period for that customer. So in this particular case, we're only going to tie a customer into a contract of 1 month. More typically, some broadcasters, especially for digital satellite, will tie a customer in for a year or more. And we can do that if necessary. But in this particular case, it's going to be a month. We then select a category, and the category is all about a catalogue that will allow the customer to select something from a subscription or a single purchase within that catalogue. and a calling client to our programming interfaces will be able to retrieve that catalogue and present it to the customer. The billing frequency is monthly, and we could set up an initial charge. Typically this is if there's a set-top box for sale, or we're sending out somebody to install something, then we would charge here. But we're not in this case. This is an online service, and we're going to charge 280,000 Indonesian rupiah per month. We're also going to select a discount from the list of discounts that we have. In this particular case, it's going to be the Jakarta Ultra first month free. And there are promotion codes to be used as well. And this one is a fixed percentage discount of 100% for one iteration, in this case 1 month. We'll make the subscription active and indefinite. We could have made this inactive for later scheduling, or schedule it to start and finish on a certain date. This start and finish time is for the sale of the subscription, not the broadcast of the subscription. We're also going to set up another subscription, which is the Jakarta TV Ultra Low Usage. In Jakarta TV's case, they will send us the movie that's being watched during the course of the subscription. So we're setting up something else that we may offer to some users if they're not using the service particularly heavily. And in this case, we're providing a percentage discount, 50%, for 2 months. We can then go and have a look at the offers and discounts themselves. And here we have the discounts that are in the system. Here's the first discount I talked about, which is the Ultra first month free, which you can see is associated with the Jakarta TV Ultra with offer subscription. If we then look inside this discount, we'll see there's a discount name and a description. In this particular case, it's percentage 100% for one iteration or 1 month. We also provide promotional codes which can be used in order to retrieve this discount, and we can associate these with a campaign. In this particular case, it's an email campaign for joining or a newspaper campaign for joining. We can also make it active. We then look at other discounts, and I talked about the Jakarta TV Ultra Low Usage discount, and if we look at the details around that, you can see in this particular case it's 50% for 2 occurrences and with no promotion code. We'll go back to our user story, and we'll see that we've set up the subscription and the offer. We're now assuming that Liamadi will sign up. So she decides to register, so she puts her details in, her first name, her last name, email address, which will be her username, and she will confirm that, putting a password in and answering a security question. We don't have to take this much information. We could just take her username and password, or you could add much more information that Paywizard holds as default. Liamadi will then click Start Your Free Trial, and she'll be presented with her payment method. And in this particular case, it's either credit card or PayPal. And Paywizard integrates with both credit cards and PayPal as standard. And if we need to integrate with a local payment service provider, we will do that. For the purposes of this user story though, this is a churn point, a heavy churn point for a lot of customers. And in this particular case, we're going to suggest that Liamadi doesn't sign up at this point. She's registered, but she's not going to put her payment details in. We're going to show you what Paywizard can do for people that churn at this point. If we go back to Paywizard, we'll be able to go to our marketing section, Decision Moments. And as a reminder, these decision moments are the engagement points with a customer that have a positive or negative effect on their subscriber journey with that broadcast client. And we can see these 8 different moments. There's the finding of the service, joining of the service, consuming it over time, upgrading, downgrading, billing regularly, allowing the customer to leave the service, or winning them back. And in this particular case, it's a join moment. If we click on join, we'll see that there are 876 customers, and we're going to be targeting 109 at this point. So we're looking for those customers that have been in their current status, i.e. registered but not subscribing, for 0 to 3 months. And if I click on preview, we'll see these are the customers that have come back that are in the database. And I shall just filter that by the customer service number, and you'll see that Liamadi is at the top, and she is only registered. We can go in and have a look at her CRM account at this point. Our CRM account is all about the engine behind Paywizard. So we can see that Liamadi is someone that will be targeted to try and get her to subscribe, so bring on board a subscription rather than just a registration. We can then go to the CRM to have a look behind the engine of the service. If we click on Launch our engine, we'll see that we can open up Liamadi's record. And if I search for her in the system, and we open her record, we'll see at the moment she's just a prospect. There's very little data about her in the system. We can tell the data is in there by these little crosses against each branch. There are very few pieces of information in here. We have no payment method, we have no contract with her, and we have an account with nothing in it. So what we're going to do is now try and persuade Liamadi to actually become a subscriber, increase the number of subscribers in our system. So if we go back, we've seen the decision moments. We then send an email which recognizes the fact that she has registered but has not yet subscribed. She can click the link to fill in her missing details and actually get her first month free. So when she clicks the link, it sends her to her Jakarta TV account where she logs in. She has a username and password already, and we can provide online chat from Paywizard to reassure Liamadi that there's no problem with putting her payment methods in and the fact that she can join the service and what she'll get once she joins the service. So she chooses to join. In this case, she puts her credit card information in, and then she's a subscriber and she's watching. This is where she would manage her account from Jakarta TV. What we can do now is have a look at her account in more detail, having joined the service. So if I open up her record having joined the service, we can see there's a lot more information. She's personally added her address information in, and we can see her account. So if we go to her account and open that up, we'll see that she joined the service in January, and we gave her an immediate discount, which is the Jakarta Ultra first month free discount, which you saw me set up. So joining in January, when we look at her payments, you'll see that she started paying in February. So she automatically had that first month free. So she's paid now for February and for March. And we can look at her usage over time. One of the things that Jakarta TV does is send through the movies that Liamadi is watching. And in this particular case, she watched Shaun of the Dead on 14th of January, then 2 more movies in January. Then she watched 4 movies in February, but stopped watching in March. So that's low usage. If I was paying that amount per month, I'd want to be watching several movies a week. And it looks like she's not watching that much, so what can we do about it? Let's go back into our marketing module now, Decision Moments, and look at our Consume Moment. So we can now filter a number of things, and let's look at actually those between 3 and 12 months plus who may well be of low usage. And we know that Liamadi's on a basic package, she's an occasional user, and there might be people in there who have gone quiet. There are no issues in the system, and we can remove these items, so we're only interested in the customer type and the time in current status. And if we preview that, these are the customers that come back, and if we filter that, we'll see that again Liamadi is somebody that we need to target. So what we can do here is extract that data and export it into whichever format you want, be it PDF or Excel spreadsheet, and import that into our marketing module and send information out to Liamadi to market to her. Or we can automatically update her to provide her with that service. And in this particular case, we're going to automatically upgrade Liamadi and give her that discount. So if we look at her payments now, we can see that we automatically gave her that discount in April. And there's the discount, which is the Jakarta TV Ultra Low Usage Discount, which you saw me set up. And in that particular case, it's 50% off for 2 months. So you can see the discount was added in April, and the discount was also added in May. And if we look at the payments, you'll see that her payments were reduced in April to 140,000 and reduced again in May to 140,000, and then back to 280,000 in June. So this is a way of encouraging Leomardi and others to continue to use the service rather than leaving it. And to show what we would do at that point is that we would send out an email to Leomardi to say, there we are, we've missed you, you've not been using the service as much as we would expect. Why not have this offer? We've put that offer in place for you already so that you can carry on and enjoy the service. We can look at her record in a little bit more detail now. We can see that her payment method in place is using Global Iris. It's her credit card. We see a masked pan there, so we know which credit card she's been using. We can see the discounts that have been applied. We can also see the contracts that she's had over time, and she started off, you can see, with the Jakarta TV Ultra offer, and then we moved her to the Jakarta TV Ultra Low Usage. And if we open up her contract, you'll see the next renewal date, and we can see the movement and contract history of that record. Well, that shows us how we can use decision moments along with customer records in order to encourage people to subscribe to the system when they haven't yet done so, and therefore increasing the revenue of the OTT service. So what we're going to do now is look at the CRM single page overview and give you an understanding of how we would manage a customer account within Paywizard Agile. Again, I've logged into Paywizard Agile instance that's sitting in Amazon Web Services, and I'll go to the CRM overview. If I click on CRM, you'll see that you can search for a customer on screen and either add a customer or search at this point. If I search for a customer, we bring back, in this particular case, it's Emma Fry's details, and we give an overview of the personal details, the devices that she has active, the discounts that she's had, the subscriptions that she has active at the moment, any customer account information such as outstanding debt or credit, the payment methods that she is using, in this particular case it's credit card and direct debit, and any one-off purchases that have been made. And we can drill down on that information. So if I click on Edit, we can look at in more detail at her record and make changes as required. We can even add custom fields to this record if necessary. We can look at more detail at the devices that she owns, and we can even manage her viewing card if she has a viewing card in her set-top box for digital satellite subscriptions. We can look at more detail at the notes that have been added, and this is a very Facebook type view where we look at information over time where notes have been added to the system. We can even filter those transactions if required. Let's drill down a bit on the subscriptions, and we can see these are the subscriptions that she's had over time, and we've got one inactive subscription and one active subscription, and she's paying monthly for that golf subscription. We can look at the customer account information in more detail. So here we can see where her balance is in her account, her account ID, and we can even see in this particular case that she owes the client some money, and we can collect on that balance if necessary and drill down to find out who else has deficit balance and mark it to them, or we can use credit control activities to deal with that. We can add a payment method at this point, or we can have a look at one-off purchases that have been made. So these are single purchases such as the Ryder Cup, final day, one-off pass, or an individual movie. So that gives us a general overview of a single view of the customer. I'm going to show you how we can observe the billing of records within Paywizard Agile. Once we've logged into the web admin console, we look on the left-hand side and there's a Finance tab. If we click on Billing, you'll see that we can tell how many records there are scheduled to be billed. In this particular case, 75 reinstatements, 25 recurring billing, and 15 additions. We can see the number that are not processed, and we can see the number that have been processed. We can also look down here at the value of the billing that's been carried out. We can then look at the charges and credits, gross charges, discounts and credits, and net charges for those customers. And we can also see the amount that has been billed over time. We can also change the billing period if necessary to look at a different period in time for those customers' billing. We can look at the amount of payments that have been made. So for example, here we see 1,410 GBP subscriptions that have been submitted for billing. And we can see the ones that have failed and the ones that have been authorized. So the red is a direct debit and the orange is a credit card. We can also see the net processed. And we can also see the number of failures and the ones that have been processed over time. We can then look at a report on a week in billing. We can see, in this particular case, we've selected 1 week, and we can see the number of actual charges, created credits, success and failures over that week. So that summarizes billing for the financial department, and then we can then later drill down on those different records and find out what went wrong, if they went wrong, or if they went right, how many we had. And all of this billing can either represent a client that's running prepaid billing or postpaid billing. It doesn't matter which one, it's all about the number of records that we have billed over time. I'm now going to show how Paywizard Agile can support one-off purchases as well as subscriptions. When we've logged into the web administration console, you can see subscriptions on the left-hand side, but we can also see one-off purchases. These give a list of the things that we're going to sell which are just a single price. These can either be a movie or they can be one-off events, such as a day pass or a week pass. If we look inside one of these, so let's look at the movie, we see an item name and a description. We can also see that we've added it to a category in the catalogue. We can see a price, in this case pound sterling, and we can see an alternative price in Indonesian rupiah. We can add another currency at this point, so we might want to add some euro in here. And we would just select euro, and that's euro added. If this item needs conditional access enablement at, say, for example, Connax or Verimatrix or Cisco or another conditional access vendor, we can add the conditional access information. So for example, it might be Sky, we would add a CA product code, and then automatically that CA product code will be sent through to the conditional access vendor. We can also make it active and indefinite, so it's always available, or we can make it inactive to add it later, or we can schedule it. The scheduling is the amount of the time it's for sale and not the time it's broadcast, which is very important. So that shows how one-off purchases can be made available in Paywizard Agile. I'm going to show you how Paywizard Agile manages vouchers as a payment method. Once we've logged into Paywizard Agile web console, we can see on the left-hand side there is a Finance tab. We can then look at the Vouchers tab on that, and we can see that there are voucher batches in the system. And here we have, for example, a Jakarta TV voucher batch with a batch ID. There's a total value of 20 million rupiah and a total of 20 vouchers in the system. We can then, having imported those vouchers, search for information either by batch ID, title, voucher code or serial number. Each voucher code is only used once. Once a customer has used that, it will declare it has been used. We can import further vouchers by going to Import Vouchers and entering a batch title and choosing a file and importing. Once imported and used on a website or through an agent activity or through your mobile device or any other channel, we will check to see if that voucher exists. We'll add the voucher to the customer record, and then we can sell any subscription or single item using that voucher. We can also use the voucher partially or fully. So if there's something left on the voucher, we will continue to use that. We're now going to look at how Paywizard Agile manages the catalog of items that are for sale. If we look at services on the left-hand side within the Paywizard Agile web console, we can move down to the catalog. And the catalog is a collected area where we can store the items that are for sale within the service. We can drill down on that. So for example, we might look at the regular subscriptions that are for sale. And these are the active regular subscriptions. And we can move these around the system as required in order to reorder them that will be passed back to the client or when they call for the items that are for sale. We also look at the on-demand items. These are the single items for sale, and move those around appropriately. We can also choose to add different subscriptions to each area of the catalog. We can also add new categories and add those categories to the catalog where required. So essentially it gives you a location whereby you can locate and you can rearrange your catalog to suit your business needs. I'm now going to talk about managing cross-grades within the Paywizard Agile environment. Once I've logged into Paywizard Web Admin Console, I will go to Services and Cross-grades. And cross-grades is all about the movement between subscription packages. So for example, when a client has the bronze, silver and gold type packaging, they may want to control whether a customer can upgrade from bronze to silver and then silver to gold. And we can do this within the cross-grade environment. We can see a key up here where blue is upgrading, amber is a cross-grade and the purple is downgrade. And we can control things. So here is a subscription, Fishing Monthly. We can see all the different other subscriptions within the system. And we can see that we can only upgrade from Fishing Monthly to Movies Silver Monthly. We can downgrade or only downgrade to the Sailing Channel. But we can cross-grade to all other subscription packages. And the way we control that is when we call, or when a calling client calls our APIs, we will dictate whether that upgrade or downgrade can be carried out. But this gives control to the client between their subscription packages. I'm now going to give a high-level overview of the Paywizard architecture and how it fits into a broadcast solution. So we'll look at end-to-end all the elements required to deliver both an OTT solution and a conditional access-based solution for digital satellite and digital terrestrial, and even digital cable. Here we see an architectural overview of an entire broadcast ecosystem broken down into lanes of responsibility. So if we look on the left-hand side, there is the consumer and all the means by which they would access their broadcast service, be it a digital video set-top box, a PC, web or browser, mobile phone, tablet or even a connected TV. We then reach the operator level, where the operator is likely to be a broadcast client, where an administrator here will set up the subscriptions for sale and the discounts. We'll also enable them to use call center agents to access customer information, sell them products and packages, and even single assets for sale. There'll also be an application server which presents the user interface to the customer that will give them the items that are for sale and allow them to register and subscribe, and even do customer self-care activities. Paywizard will sit in the middle of this, exposing SOAP APIs to enable that operator to make calls into the system to store and retrieve customer information and add payment methods, purchase packages, upgrade and downgrade, and conduct customer self-care activities. As part of that process, we will take payments, and we integrate with WorldPay and Global Iris and Paywizard as standard. So we can see that Paywizard provides integration to payment service providers. We provide integration with WorldPay and Global Iris for credit cards and PayPal as standard. And we will also integrate with any local payment service provider in order to give any local payment systems such as PayMaya, Mint, and other e-wallet systems that are local to the environment. Once a calling client requests access to the payment services, we will pass back the redirection information that allows the customer to add their credit card or PayPal information that goes directly to PayPal without any card information being stored at either our level or the broadcaster's level, and a token will be passed back to the application server of the calling client. The application server will then add that payment method into the Paywizard environment, which will enable us to store the token to initially bill and regularly bill a customer over time. Once we've taken payment, we expect to send out a conditional access message to any conditional access provider. For example, that might be Connex or Verimatrix or Cisco or any other conditional access vendor. Once we've sent that enablement message to the conditional access vendor, we would expect them to send that message to the client's set-top box or other device. We can also integrate directly with an OVP, an online video player, such as Uyala or Adeto or Platform or any other vendor. The reason there's a dotted line here is that we don't have to integrate with them, we don't have to send a message. We could enable an OVP or a client to make a call to us to do an entitlement check to find out what the subscription type is for that customer, and then give access to that stream content as a result. So that gives you an overview of a pretty typical integration environment for a broadcaster. The sort of things that Paywizard will be expected to do once we talk to a client is the integration with a local payment service provider and the integration with either a conditional access vendor or an OVP. Those are usually the only two things that we will need to do in order to provide that end-to-end service. This is to show how Paywizard Agile will manage a typical digital satellite broadcaster for cash payments. That's payments in store for a subscription service. Once I log on to the Paywizard Agile web console, I can go and look at the services that can be sold, and I'll have a look at subscriptions. And in this particular case, we're looking at Jakarta TV Ultra subscription, which is 28,000 rupiah monthly. And if I click on and have a look at more details for that subscription, we can see there's a subscription name and a description. There is an initial term, which is month on month. There is a category that we add the subscription to. In this particular case, it will be regular. There's a billing frequency, which is monthly. No initial charge, but just a repeating payment of 28,000 rupiah. No discounts. And it's active. And the way we're going to show this subscription being sold is to go into a store and buy the subscription using cash. And in order to do that, we'll introduce you to Barak. He's the gentleman that will be buying the subscription. His profile is that he works in construction, he loves watching sports, his favorite sport is horse racing, and he has a subscription to Jakarta TV Ultra. The way he got that subscription was to go into a store and provide information to an agent who fills that detail in to the Paywizard Agile agent console. Once they fill the details in, taken his information about his address and his payment information, he will pass across the cash for the service. So let's look at his record once he's passed the cash across for the service. So what I'm going to do is log into the CRM to look at Barak's record. And this is a single sign-on. Log into the e-agent application. This is the same application that the agent would be using that they fill in order to take the cash payment. So let's find Barak's record. And let's open that record. And we can see we opened his record up on the left-hand side, and we have a look at his payment method, and we can see it's invoice only. We can look at his contract, and we can see that it's Jakarta TV Ultra, and we can open that contract up and see that he joined on the 10th of May, and his renewal date is the 10th of October. And we can look at his account, and we can see from his account he's a cash payer, because we can see their manual payments have been made. And he joined on the 10th of May. He started off with a repeating charge, and he manually paid that using cash. And we can see the payments that he made over time, 28,000 rupiah in May all the way through to August. And we can see that his September payment is due. So he has in debt 28,000 rupiah. So we need to be able to inform Barak that he has to go into the store and pay for his service. And if we look a bit more detail, we can see that he made his first payment on the 10th of May. His second payment was the 11th of June. Oh, sorry, the manual payment went in on the 12th of June. He required to be paid on the 11th of July, but he didn't pay to the 18th of July. So there was a gap between when he was required to pay and when he actually paid. So we needed to inform Barak that he needed to go into the store and pay for that. So let's go into the Paywizard web console and see what we can do about making sure that Barak gets information about payments. If we go into our decision moments, we can see the billing moment. And if we click on bill, we can look for people that are subscribers on a top package, and perhaps have a number of failures. So he hasn't managed to pay for a particular period of time, and we can remove the other problems, and we'll do a preview. And if we filter that, we'll see that Barak is in fact somebody that needs to be able to pay. There are others in the system as well that have failed to pay, and we can send them emails or SMS, or even inform them on their set-top box that they need to go in and pay for their service. We could even drill down a bit further onto that. We knew that he didn't pay between a certain date. So if we have a look at July the 12th and July the 17th, we know that was when Barak was due to pay for his subscription and didn't. And we can see that between that date, he's the only person to come back. So if we now go back to our user story, we've shown you his record in the e-agent. We then send out an email to remind Barak that he now needs to go and pay his 280,000 rupiah in store or elsewhere. That will make sure that his subscription continues. And once the subscription is paid, we will automatically send an enablement message off to the conditional access vendor, which will subsequently be sent to the set-top box. I'm going to show how Paywizard Agile can provide a billing service for digital satellite providers, digital terrestrial providers who have a set-top box and a service using a cash voucher as a payment. I log on to Paywizard Agile web console, and I can go into my finance environment, vouchers, and we can see that we've uploaded a voucher batch for Jakarta TV. There are 20 vouchers in the system, and the total value of everything is 20 million rupiah, and they're active. So now we need to understand how we can use those vouchers in order to sell a service. Well, we'll do that by looking at a user story through Leah. Leah's profile She works in finance. She has hobbies with gym and cinema. She loves Breaking Bad, and she doesn't have any TV subscriptions, but she's been given a voucher by her family to be able to buy a subscription service. So she then goes into a store using that voucher and pays for the set-top box and the first month of the subscription. So what we're going to do is look at Leah's record in the CRM and see how that worked within the subscription environment. So here is Leah's record, and you can see her payment method is invoice only, and we use that for vouchers. We go into her account system and we open up her record, and we can see that a voucher code was added on the 10th of May. So her initial charge and the voucher code was for 1 million rupiah, and her initial charge was for 200,000 rupiah for the set-top box, and her first charge was for 150,000 rupiah for her first month subscription. And we can see then that she made subscription payments using the voucher over time. So the next value came off on the 10th of June, the next value came off on the 10th of July, the next on the 10th of August. And now in September, her voucher has actually reduced to 50,000 rupiah, which is insufficient for her to top up her account in order to pay for that subscription. So we need to warn her somehow that she needs to go in and either add another voucher to her service or pay for the service by cash. Well, actually, the best way to do that is through the set-top box itself. So if we go back to the user story, we can see that she's been prompted on her set-top box to enter a new voucher code, which she can do. And as soon as she enters that voucher code, a call is made by the set-top box to the Paywizard system, adding the voucher code and taking the payment, and we will automatically send that enablement message to the conditional access provider to continue the service. I'm going to show you how Paywizard Agile adds new users and manages users within the administration environment. So once we log on to Paywizard Agile Web Console, we go down to the configuration element. And under there will be users. And if you click on users, you'll see the number of users that are in the system, whether they're active, inactive, or actually waiting to be added. We can create new users at this point. So adding a new user, you'll put in a full name, a username, a password, email address, and a telephone number. We can also then add the number of services that that user can have. So it's role-based. We can dictate what they have access to. In this particular case, services around marketing, configuration activity, and finance information. Also reporting and administration through the CRM. The CRM can be further broken down into different modules it can have. So it may just be an agent, or it may be a full administrator. All of this can be controlled through the Web Admin Console. I'm going to show how Paywizard Agile manages one-off purchases as well as subscriptions. When we log into the Web Admin Console, we go down to Services, One-Off Purchases. These are items that can be sold in single amounts. So this can either be a single movie, or it could be a day pass or a week pass, or even a set-top box. As long as you can add one price to it and sell it, that's what we can set up here. And either we add them manually by creating a new item, or we can import these items. So typically a broadcaster will have an online video player partner, so an OVP, which has a content management system. They can export their content, and we can import that content here through a file upload. Or if they have a small number of assets that they want to sell, we can just create those items. And we create the item just by manually adding it through using an item name and a description, adding it to a category, and then adding a currency. So for example, we can add currency of a pound, We can also add alternative currencies. And we'll add one more. We'll add in euro as well. We can add as many currencies in as the payment service provider will support. And we can also conduct conditional access activity. So if, for example, the product is associated with a digital satellite subscription that then needs to be sold on top of that as a pay-per-view item, we can add in the C8 product code. We will then send that product code through to the conditional access provider. If we look at one that already exists, we'll see here that we've made this item active and indefinite. We could have made it inactive, so you can add it active later, or we could schedule it. And by scheduling it, it's the scheduled sale period rather than the broadcast time. And if we schedule it, it will automatically become available on the date and then remove itself from the catalogue after that date. So that's how we manage one-off purchases within Paywizard Agile.